Hey, Shalom, Kalalal, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. Just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakaha, Kodash. And double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of GMS. And I do learn this truth from to you. I say Shalom, and Shalom unto the hopeful elect. This is a son of Zion signing back in. Lord willing, this will be edifying and thought-provoking in the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. Hey, this is another reason why the so-called black woman and professional female sports is not taken seriously. When you look at things like this, fan ejected for making fun of Copper's wig falling out after commentators struggle to not laugh. Wow, it's a goddamn shame. And hey, if you have to wear a wig on your head, or you have to wear weave because you can't grow your own hair, that's a curse. And if that's happening to you, most likely you go back to the tribes. You're an Israelite. Okay, you're an Israelite woman. That's the curse that's found in Isaiah chapter 3 verse 16 on down. Smiting the scab. And that's what the Lord did to our woman. And our women are catching hell. And this is not a good feeling. This is not a good thing to go through. But still, you black women are proud as hell. You guys are the only woman on the earth, okay, openly, that like to say things like, I'm the blueprint of what femininity is, or I'm a goddess, I'm a queen, I'm a bad bitch because I'm wearing all these weaves and expensive clothing and jewelry. You guys like to say that shit, but it's the exact opposite of how things are being shown on the Lord's stage. Look how you guys are moving, man. This is embarrassing. Right? Woman's hair is falling off and she's bald. She's completely bald and she has to run off the court and the whole game has to stop, man. That's embarrassing. The whole world saw this shit. And this is not a good look on you men, man. This is a bad reflection on the Israelite man too. Because the Israelite man's glory is his woman. And right now your glory is not looking too good. So that shows that you Israelite men, you have fallen short when it comes to serving Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Because the tabernacle begins with you, man. That's Revelation 21:3. It simply says, "For my tabernacle begins with men," roughly paraphrasing. So what is a tabernacle for? Throwing up spiritual sacrifices and serving Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. It's about being a priest, doing priestly things. You're not doing that. The majority of you Israelite men, you're not doing that. And this is why your glory, your woman, looks like shit. You should be embarrassed, man. This is embarrassing. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, man. Embarrassing. Alright, I don't really want to play the clip, but I'll play a little bit of it. Let's see.
And it bounced around a lot, but at the end, I went through the rim.
You see that, right? I hope you guys, it was quick. Let me play that again. Her weave gets ripped off by number 5 here, if you can see it on the screen. This individual. It falls on the floor. Here, let's play that again. Unbelievable.
And it bounced around a lot, but at the end, I went through the rim. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, she gonna go head to the back. Oh no.
Timeout called for Copper to deal with the malfunction. Shakira, beautiful passer, Christy.
Here it is. You call yourself, or you like to say things, I'm the blueprint when it comes to femininity. But here it is. You're in the WNBA and you're a fucking dyke. Fucking carpet muncher. Or you like to swing both ways. There's nothing feminine about that. Fucking joke, man. Fucking joke.
Just what she's been able to do from a center standpoint, Christy. And now they have an issue with a fan as the officials, as Phoenix's bench had an issue. They're having Alyssa Thomas and Nate Tibbetts point out which fan it is so that security here at Care First Arena can have that dealt with. As we're waiting to get back to play here. So the officials are now talking to arena security here. As you can see,
they made fun of her for the situation on the floor.
so a fan said something. The Phoenix Mercury bench heard it, and they did not like what was said. They're taking exception to it, so Amy Bonner, crew chief, is trying to have this sorted out with the arena security here as to which person it was, and that way they can get it taken care of. 10-point lead to start this fourth quarter. Kalia Copper back on the bench.
That's the woman. You know, her weave fell off. But you see this, man. You see how the whole game has to stop. You know, it stopped because of a fan laughing at Kalia Copper, making fun of her, and her teammates didn't like that, so the whole game had to stop, man. You know, and that's what happens, man. That's some woke shit. You know, if this was the men's league, this shit wouldn't have been happening, man. It would have been business as usual. Because a lot of men, they have to deal with the trash talking, a lot of talking shit. And you're playing injured, you have to deal with all this bullshit, the fans, the coaches, teammates, right? You got to fight for position. You know, if this was the men's league, man, it would just been all business. You wouldn't have this bullshit. But because their feelings are hurt, these women, the whole world has to stop and cater to them. It's a goddamn joke. Female sports, professional women's sports, and the so-called black women are a fucking joke. Fucking joke, man. Can't take this shit seriously. You can't. Can't take this shit seriously. So this is Isaiah chapter 3, verse 16. Moreover, Yahweh Bashemel Shai saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, you know, which is going into pride and arrogance, and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. Beautiful. Yeah, stretch forth necks, you know, give you that attitude. She's wringing her neck back and forth, shaking her finger in front of your face, throwing a tantrum because she doesn't get what she wants, right? That's why she acts that way. She has wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, right? Wanton eye just means very undisciplined, right? Very undisciplined. Here it is, you're in a relationship with a so-called black woman, you're walking the street, you're thinking that she's with you, but she's looking at all these different men while she's with you. Wanton eyes, man. No fucking respect. Walking and mincing as they go. And you know the scripture says, give not a woman liberty to gather or to gad abroad. Yeah, that's what the majority of these women are doing right now. The Israelite woman especially. You got fucking wolf packs of women walking the streets late at night. Up to no fucking good. And it's not that they're all old. They're young. You know, it's a damn shame, man. It's embarrassing. And making a tinkling with their feet. Yeah, wearing them high heels and stilettos, man. You know, when it hits the floor, as you can hear them when they're coming or approaching. Fucking loud. Especially if they're in the workplace. Especially if she's in a position of authority. She wears them high heels. She walks the halls so she can make a statement, letting you know that she's in charge and she's there. You got to acknowledge her. That's how it is, man. Verse 17. Therefore, the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion. Okay, and that's the curse. That's the curse you're going through. Smite with a scab, which is the plague of baldness. And that's what this woman has, unfortunately. But she has to just go through it. Because this is to humble her, man. This is actually to humble her. And it's to let her know who she really is and where she goes back to. She's a seed of Jacob, man. Or a daughter of Zion. But, you know, these black women, they're not going to acknowledge it. A majority of them, they're not going to acknowledge it. And they're going to continue on to be proud in their wickedness. well, you're gonna get judged. And by the way, man, you wearing these wigs, these weaves, these hair hats, you know, that, do you even know where it comes from? Do you even know where it comes from? The hair that you're wearing on your head, do you know where it comes from? A lot of it is human hair, and also animal hair, but mainly human hair that comes from India. Yeah, you're wearing the East Indian woman's hair on your head, and really it's actually someone else's spiritual purification. That's what you're wearing, because hey, them Indian women, what they do is they go up to their temple, they shave their head off, and they offer up their hair in honor to their gods. And then these these Indian businessmen, they're like, you know what, I could make some money off of this. You know who would like this? So-called black women. So what they do is they make a deal with the temple, and then they collect all that hair and they bring it to America, and then they sell it to you stupid black women, man. And that's another reason why you're a fucking joke and nobody takes you seriously, man, because you know why? You're wearing someone else's spiritual purification on your fucking head. That's a goddamn shame. And yes, I'm gonna swear, I'm gonna be rude, I'm gonna be vulgar, I don't care. Which not a lot of people watch anyway, and good, man. I hope you don't watch, man. And I hope you fucking losers follow the truth. Okay, I hope you don't come into this truth, and I hope whoever's watching and scoffing, I hope you fall out, man. I hope you die too. Move on, man. Now I'm getting angry. Okay. Alright, back on track now. So it says, smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. You see that? Discover their secret parts, going into your private parts. The only parts that your husband should be seeing in the bedroom. Because that's when you're supposed to bust it wide open and get naked and get freaky, man, with your husband. But you don't do that. You walk the streets naked, man. You basically look like a prostitute when you walk these streets. Man, some of these women are just naked, man. I used to see that a lot downtown Toronto, man. Victorian Dundas, where I was in GMS Toronto, man. We used to go down there and prophesy. Yo, some sexy ass women would come up too, and they would just be naked. And you know, they would always pass by when we're going into the scriptures about these women too. That was the spirit too. And then whenever they would pass us, they would always trip and fall for some reason. Due to their pride, man. But yeah, the secret parts is going into your private parts that are only supposed to be shown onto your husband. Man, our women, they're very provocative, very slutty, revealing themselves. Yeah, but anyways, it says verse 18, in that day the Lord will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their calls, and their round tires like the moon, the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs, and the headbands and the tablets and the earrings, the rings and the nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles and the wimples and the crisping pins, the glasses and the fine linen and the hoods and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall we stink. That's right, your pussy stinks, your ass stinks. Especially when you get surgery. You know, them BBLs, Brazilian butt lifts. You get a boob job, plastic surgery. And also your weave stinks too. I'm gonna just say that. Your weave stinks. Imagine this woman, man. Yo, imagine me. Imagine if I were to wear a toque. Right? You know what a toque is. A toque is, you wear that when it's winter time. So imagine if I wore a toque 24/7, and on top of that, me working out and playing basketball, and I never take that shit off. You know how fucking stink that would be? You know how my head would smell, and also the hat, it would smell? That's exactly how these weaves stink. Because she's gonna play basketball, sweat, it's gonna stink up, and then she's gonna go to the club after, or whatever the fuck she's doing. And you know, if you're a black man and you dealt with black woman weave, and you're getting busy with her, I know you've probably experienced that stink, that funk that comes off of her damn weave or wig. And she don't want to take it off, man. That's a demon. That's a fucking demon. That's a demon. Anyways. Anyways, man. But it's a damn shame. It's unfortunate, but it's a damn shame. But oh well. It's going to play out. It has to play out. And instead of a girdle, a rent. That's right. She's going to have a big stomach. She's not going to be in shape. Well, you know, these women are in shape, but they're in manly shape. And you don't want them like that. You don't want a woman with muscles, man. You know, you go into the bedroom and you're feeling her biceps and shit. She's stronger than you. That's nasty, man. You don't want that. But she's too strong. You know what I mean? She's not feminine. You know, there was a point, man, when our women were very, very dainty. They were so dainty to the point that their feet never touched the floor. And they're very passive, feminine, in order. But that's no longer the case. And you know, sometimes when I look at the black woman, man, I don't think she's ever going to be in her right mind ever again. It's going to take a miracle. And it is. You know, Yahushua has to come back and deliver us, man. Yeah, man. He has to change us, mortify our members. You know, with us getting new bodies, we have to be changed, man. And we can't do it by ourselves. We need divine intervention. Think you're going to be looking like this in the kingdom, Eve? Eve, you ain't going to be looking like this in the kingdom. Wearing a wig. You're going to have your own hair. Alright, so let's move on. And instead of well set hair, baldness. And instead of a stomacher, a girdling of sackcloth, and a burning instead of beauty. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in war, and her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. So yeah, you know, instead of well set hair, baldness. Yeah, you're going bald. You know, and it also set it up here, smite with the scab the crown of the head. You know, same thing, baldness. But yeah, man, you're going bald, man. Yeah, it says here, instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. Yeah, man, and you know, I'm gonna be straight up. You know, some of our women look very ugly, man. Some of them do. Not just the black women, but even the women of the different tribes. They look ugly, yo. Fucking ugly. Fucking ugly. You got truckers that look better than them, man. For lack of better words. Booty of a stripper, but the face of a trucker. That's how they look, bro. Burning instead of beauty. God damn. Alright, so that's all I got from here. Now let's go into 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 2. Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Yahushua, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Yahushua is the Most High. So that's the order of things. So Yahushua is over the man is over the woman, and Yahweh the Father is over Yahushua. That's the order. So you women are supposed to be under men. But that's not playing out today. You know, the scripture says a woman shall compass a man. And you're seeing it. And that's why these women, especially our women, they're into professional sports. First of all, you're not supposed to be wearing a jersey. You know, that attire pertains to a man. You know, the games were for men. Especially when you go back into the ancient world, back into ancient Greece and also ancient Rome. It was, for the most part, it was men that partook in the games. Right? They partook in the games, but now that has changed. Now women are doing it. And they're manly and masculine as fuck. Right? And a lot of these women, they have a weird spirit on them too. You know, some of them are lesbians, homosexuals, that is, or bisexual. They swing both ways, or they're just straight up dykes. That ain't right. That ain't right. And if they are straight, they're getting ran through by all these guys taking all this type of pipe, you know. That ain't right, man. So verse 4, it says, every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoreth his head. So the man, he's supposed to prophesy or pray with his head uncovered. But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered dishonoreth her head, for that is even all one as if she were shaven. You see, so she's supposed to have her head covered while she's praying or prophesying, doing spiritual things. She's supposed to be covered up. That includes her head and her body. Verse 6, for if the woman be not covered, let her also be shorn. But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered. So she's supposed to be covered up. And that means modest apparel. So your secret parts aren't supposed to be shown to the whole world. They're only supposed to be shown to your man. So it says, verse 7, for a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of the Most High. And that goes back to what I said as well. Revelation 21:3. My tabernacle begins with men. Because the Lord is dealing with you. And really, you are the Lord's woman. You men, first and foremost, you are the Lord's woman. Okay, and that's why you have to have your head uncovered. He's dealing with you when it comes to worshiping. Okay, you're his woman. But the woman is the glory of the man. You see that? The woman is the glory of the man. So, hey, our woman, they're our glory. But right now, our glory isn't looking too good. And that's a poor reflection on us as Israelite men. That means we need to get it together. We need to get it together. And there's a select few of men that are doing that in the spirit, which is the elect. Yeah, but, all right, so we move on. It says, for the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. That's right. So the woman, she came from the man, and she was set up to serve the man, not the other way around. And that's how these women want it. They want you to serve them. They want you to be their slaves. They do. They do, man. That's how it is. You know, that's what's pushed in the society. You know, man's an idiot. When you go into the nuclear family and just men in general, what's being pushed in the mainstream media and pop culture, right? The man is a loser. He's an idiot. He's a simp. He's supposed to provide for you. You're over him. You're superior. You're a goddess. You're a bad bitch. He's supposed to take you out. That's all you fucking hear. He has to be a gentleman, and you can be a slut and a prostitute and not take responsibility for yourselves, right? He has to serve you. You don't have to serve him. But that's not how the Lord wants it. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. That's right. You know, so you were created for us. Why? You're our helpmate. You're our servant. You're supposed to make us happy. That's no longer the case. You got a lot of men, man, that are underfucked and overworked. And you have a lot of women that are overfucked and underworked. Because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to put a woman to work. She's supposed to be busy, keeping your house in order. But they're a bunch of busybodies, man, and tattlers, man, these women. And that's why they're overfucked, because they're spending so much time on social media, gadding abroad, wasting time. Alright, let me move on, man. For this cause ought the woman to have power on her head, because of the angels. Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man in the Lord. There you go. So it's balanced. You can't live without them, and you can't live with them sometimes. You need them. You don't want them, but you need them. You know what I mean? Right? But the Lord doesn't want man to be alone. So even being in that spirit of man going their own way, that can only last for so long. You know, if you're going your own way, you should be looking for the right woman in the spirit, you know, or you ask the Lord in the spirit to provide you a good woman. All right, or whatever, or or maybe a fling down the road, or put the right woman in your life. That's what I really want to say. All right, man, that's enough I got. That's all I got from 1 Corinthians 11. Let's move on. So it says, 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 9, in like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety, with broidered hair, or gold, or pearls, or costly array. Right, so she's supposed to be shamefaced and have sobriety, so she's supposed to be humble, and she's supposed to dress in modest apparel. Yeah, proper clothing. She's supposed to be dressed up. She's not supposed to be a cross-dresser. She's not supposed to dress up like a prostitute. Because if you're not dressing modestly, you're pretty much either being a cross-dresser or a prostitute, and that's why it says not with broidered hair, gold, pearls, or costly array. Because that's what a working girl that wears. She wears all these things to attract the men, so she can get paid for sleeping with them. That's how prostitutes look. And the majority of these women out here, they're a bunch of prostitutes and dykes, man. Bunch of prostitutes. Because you ain't getting a virgin, man. Girl you talk to on these different dating apps, you know they've been ran through. I don't care if it's one or two guys they slept through, they've been ran through, man. And they're damaged goods. But you know what? You're in Babylon, so you got to deal with the best of the worst. Like a used car. Just get the best car. Get a car with low mileage, so it won't break down fast. You won't have all these problems, man. That's how you got to view women. You got to view them like cars. In Babylon, you're not going to get a new, fresh car. You got to get a used car. So go with the car that has a little bit of low mileage. But even then, you're going to experience problems, man. Even because they don't love you. They don't love you. It's just your turn going in them walls. That's it. So that's all I want from here. Actually, I'm going to read verse 12. It says, but I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. For Adam was first formed, then Eve, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing, if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety. Yeah, so you're not going to be saved for playing in the WNBA. You ain't going to be saved for having a good career. You ain't going to be saved for being a strong, independent woman. You're going to be saved if you have a man of the Lord's kids. And if you show charity, and if you have faith, and if you're holy, and if you have sobriety, which means you gotta have the whole package to be saved, and you gotta have kids, which a lot of these women don't want to do. They don't want to have kids. In fact, a lot of you women get abortions, man. Your womb is a fucking graveyard, man. It's a bunch of tombstones in there, man. Killing the baby, man. So anyways, let me get this. This is Genesis chapter 24, verse 62. And Isaac came from the way of the well Lahairoi, for he dwelt in the south country. Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the eventide. And he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, the camels were coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lighted off the camel, for she had said unto the servant, what man is this that walketh in the field to meet us? And the servant had said, it is my master. Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. That's right. You take a veil and cover yourself up. Okay, that's what a lady does. You women don't do that. And we don't expect you to do that in this time, by the way. We don't expect you to do that. Verse 66, and the servant told Isaac all things that he had done. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent, and took Rebekah, and she became his wife. You know how she became his wife? They had sex. And you know what this did to Isaac? It comforted him, because Sarah died. So now he found a woman, and now he was comforted, from his mother's death. But that's how you're married. You have sex. Not putting a ring on the finger. That's not real marriage. Okay? Marriage is sex. And he loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. You see that? There you go, man. There you go. And when you have sex, you become one flesh. So that's how a lady is supposed to act. You're supposed to take a veil and cover yourself up. What you women don't do, man. You show your secret parts to everybody. Let me see here. Nah, I won't go into this. But with that, just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah HaKodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that I do learn this truth from. To you I say Shalom, and Shalom unto the hopeful act. This is a son of Zion signing out. Until next time, Kwame Ashala, Baba Ba, and Shalom.